CAP adalah akronim kepada Pilot CIMB Islamic Entrepreneurship Program.
Mengenai ruang dengan lebih jelas.
Of the what we call blended wing body technology. The main purpose of this UAV is for ISR mission.
Hari ini ialah di mana disiplin-disiplin akan there be a merger of disciplines, ya. Banyak inovasi memerlukan kita kepakaran dan pengetahuan dalam pelbagai disiplin, ya. Dan juga kita harapan dengan IR 4.0 untuk mengerakkan sinergi, untuk meningkatkan sinergi di industri ini. Tidak dapat tidak, kita penggabungan ini suatu yang mesti terjadi.
Kita warga UiTM, kita bangsa perkasa, taat dan setiaku untuk negara, penuh semangat wajar. Kita jangan mudah terlupa
Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera kepada semua para pelajar. Bagi memberkati majlis pada malam ini, marilah kita sama-sama membacakan ummul kitab Al-Fatihah. Pertama sekali saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada semua pelajar yang hadir ke program anjuran HEP Kolej Pengajian Kejuruteraan UiTM Shah Alam. Program ini dilaksanakan bagi memberi pendedahan kepada para pelajar tentang kepentingan etika kerja dan amalan profesional, terutama kepada mereka yang akan menjalani latihan industri pada semester ini. Diharapkan dengan perkongsian ini dapat memberikan input berguna untuk diamalkan oleh para pelajar. Seterusnya, saya mohon kerjasama semua pelajar untuk mengisi entrance survey yang telah diletakkan di ruangan chat. Tak dengar suara? Boleh dengar suara saya tak, Puan Zarina? Okey.
No,
Okey,
very
terima
clear to
kasih.
me. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Because there's somebody who cannot hear my voice. Alright. Berkaitan dengan entrance survey tadi, saya letakkan kembali ke dalam ruangan chat. Okay. Seterusnya, majlis ingin mengalalukan kehadiran Puan Zarina Zainal, okay, selaku penceramah jemputan pada program kali ini. So, untuk maklumat pelajar, kita bawakan Puan Zarina jauh daripada US. Okay, untuk memberikan ceramah pada malam ini. So, sebelum itu izinkan saya berkongsi latar belakang beliau secara ringkas. Puan Zarina merupakan pengarah urusan GAPC. Okay, hopefully saya pronounce betul, Sendirian Berhad. Beliau juga adalah perunding utama di Infinite Ideas Consultancy dan juga pengasas bersama perusahaan sosial iaitu Office International PLT. Beliau mempunyai 27 tahun pengalaman berkaitan perhubungan awam korporat dalam pelbagai industri daripada GLC, hospitality, automotif, pembinaan dan akhir sekali dalam bidang pendidikan dan latihan. So, oleh itu tanpa membuang masa, saya serahkan majlis ini kepada Puan Zarina. Dipersilakan.
Terima kasih Dr. Farah. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to everybody. So, I don't see any faces. We're on Webex, so if you are able to switch on your camera, I would appreciate it because what we're going to do today, I'm going to share my experience and I'm going to share some information about ethics and excellence at the workplace. So, what we're going to do today is more interactive. I would actually love to hear from you what your thoughts are. Sebab cara yang terbaik kita belajar ialah bila kita discuss. Ya, bila kita hanya mendengar dan melihat, our retention is very low. We only retain about 10 or 20%, maximum 30%. But when we discuss and when we share experiences, our retention of knowledge and information can go up to 90%. Yeah, so that's why it's always best that if you have any questions, because there's no such thing as a stupid question. Every question is valid, yeah, and this is a safe space. So even if you want to share your personal experiences, please do. Okay, so saya akan cakap rojak, yeah, to make things easy. And let me start by sharing my slide, yeah. Okay, so here we go. All right, can everybody see my slide? Nampak, ya?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much. I love hearing your voice. So if any of you would like to say anything, just introduce yourself because I would like to know who I'm speaking to. And then you can proceed with whatever it is you want to say. Yeah? So to start off with, excellence, ethics and excellence at the workplace. I am so happy that your lecturer, Dr. Farah, has organized something like this because kalau kamu perasan lah, this is something that is unfortunately very, very lacking in our, not just our country, in a lot of places in the world, which includes America. I'm in America right now, and currently there are some major issues with regards to ethics in Wall Street itself. Yeah, in big companies, in Wall Street, in the government. So America is about to face one of the biggest economic crunches in their history because of issues on ethics. So let me start. Yeah, of course, you have heard about who I am. Dr. Faiz introduced me. But what I want to add on is that I've learned so much, yeah, being in the corporate world. Tapi sebenarnya cita-cita saya dulu nak jadi doktor. I studied very hard because I wanted to be a doctor. Tapi rezeki bukan di situ kan. And what happened was during my time, there's no such thing as PTPTN. And I come from a middle class family. Adik-beradik 7 orang. My father was a pegawai pertanian. And my mother was a secretary, and she's actually one of the pioneer graduates from ITM, zaman-zaman dulu lagi, yeah, in the 1950s. And so being a middle-class family, adik-beradik ramai, to send me to university was too expensive. Yeah, zaman tu semua ada yuran, semua kena bayar. And being kanak-kanak di bandar, zaman tu Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim was the Menteri Pendidikan. So his focus was to help students di luar bandar. So it was just my luck. Unfortunately, I did not get any assistance. But everything in life happens for a reason, right? So what happened was, in order for me to pursue my education, I actually got a job. So I started my career in hospitality. I was a waitress in Hyatt Regency Sarjana Hotel to save up money to do my Form 6. Pasal nak jadi doktor, semangat ni kan. Then of course, at that time, kita fokus pasal kita nak, we wanted, you know, I had a goal. I wanted to go to university. But what I didn't realize was that now, yang I dah sedar, you know, whenever Allah puts an obstacle in front of us, yeah, it's not because Allah is trying to make our life difficult. But I realized that every time there's an obstacle in front of us, is for Allah to give us the opportunity to pick up new skills. So when I was in Hyatt Regency Sarjana, I actually managed to gain so much experience and so much skills that became very valuable later in life. Yeah, which I'll share later. Anyway, saved up enough money, sambung buat Form 6 dekat ACS Klang, it's a Methodist boys' school. And I was a small group of girls who were doing science there, so that was an interesting experience. And while waiting for my STPM result, I actually joined Malaysia Airlines because I wanted to, you know, my friends kata, jom cuba pergi Malaysia Airlines interview suka-suka. So I said, okay lah, pergilah suka-suka. Dapatlah pula, yeah. Tapi still nak jadi doktor ni. Yeah, because zaman tu, MES had a special program. When you fly for 3 years, you can apply for study leave and MES will pay half your salary. Yeah, so there were 3 types of crew zaman saya dulu lah. One group of stewardesses, dia jadi stewardess kerana dia nak tangkap lelaki kaya. Dia dah malas nak belajar, dia malas nak fikir banyak-banyak, dia pergi fly. Because zaman tu Air Asia tak ada lagi. So not everyone can fly, only rich people can fly. Kan? So bila dia pergi flight tu, dia scanning, dia aiming. Mana potential husband. You know, cukup habis cerita, selamat hidup dia, right? So that's one group. Another group were intelligent people, yeah, people with diplomas, people with degrees. But zaman tu, with a diploma and a degree, starting salary was only 800 to 1,000 for a month. And as a Malaysia Airlines stewardess or steward, the salary would be between 3,500 to 5,000 ringgit a month. Mana taknya? So these engineers, we had engineers, we had lawyers, we had accountants, yeah, who actually put their degree on the shelf to become a crew so they could save up money, and they were smart. They invested, they bought property, they bought a car, and they only fly for about 2 to 5 years, and then they go back to do whatever it is their profession is. Tapi dia dah settle, dia dah ada duit. Yeah, and the third group would be people like me. So now the reason I'm sharing this is because in my years in MES, so many things happened. I met so many types of people and I learned so many things. And one of the examples or case studies that I will share with you later on has to do with MES. Yeah. So moving forward, this is something that we call a visual graphic representation. Yeah. As you know, the way our brain works, we have our left brain, we have our right brain, right? Our analytical brain, which I think most of you are being in engineering, and we have our right brain, which is the creative brain. So it's always good to keep a balanced brain. And if you notice, when we communicate or whenever we recollect or reflect, we think in images. So what I'm trying to share with you right now is through these images, what do you think I'm trying to communicate to you? There's no wrong answer. Yeah, whatever you see is what you see. Everybody's right, so there will be no wrong answer. So can I get like maybe 2 or 3 people to just share with me based on this graphic representation, what am I trying to say to you? What am I trying to share with you? Who'd like to try?
The steps to success starts with a few footsteps.
Very good. May I know who's speaking?
My name is Irfan.
Thank you, Irfan. Yes, very good. You're right. Like I said, there's no way you can go wrong. Betul. It's about your steps to climb that corporate ladder to achieve your career aspiration. That is very true. That is the overview. That's the big picture. Now, if you notice, there's some elements there. So who'd like to share what you think are these elements that will affect your ability to climb that corporate ladder?
Self-reflection.
Very good. Who's that? Adam?
Yeah.
Is it? Yes, Adam. Thank you very much. Yes, one of it is self-reflection. That's perfect. That's very good. But what about self-reflection? How can you elaborate on that?
You have to evaluate yourself and look at what you're lacking and then fix what you're lacking.
Perfect. Good job. Thank you. Thank you very much. One more. 2 very good answers. Just one more sharing. Who'd like to try? How about the ladies? I dengar the gentleman aja punya suara. How about the ladies? Any of the ladies would like to add on to this? Takkan malu kot. Okay, kalau tak ada ladies pun, one more gentleman. What do you think? So we have steps to achieving your career aspirations. Self-reflection is one of the elements. There are the 4 elements there. Who would like to give it a shot?
Confident in
Kalau tak, I will
yourself.
call on someone. Siapa tu?
Mirza.
Yes, Mirza.
Confident in ourselves.
Very good. Exactly. I mean, you guys can't go wrong. Like I said, you're right. All 3 of you are correct. So now let me share with you what exactly I'm showing you here. As Irfan said, these are your steps. Yeah. To climb that corporate ladder to achieve success in the corporate world or your aspirations. Success is very subjective. What success means to you may be different from what success means to Adam and from what success means to Mirza. Yeah. But what you need to be aware of, or your toolkit has to be one in terms of your personal branding. Because you communicate with your image, with your personal image. And when we talk about personal branding, tu pun ada elements dia lain that contributes to your personal branding. Yeah, so if you're an engineer, when you go out there and you enter the corporate world, you need to walk and talk and look like an engineer. Then you will gain people's confidence. Yeah, then you will get opportunities or doors open to you. Yeah, for you to achieve what you want. The next would be, tadi tu personal branding tu is physical. The next one is your online branding, your virtual branding. Because in your generation right now, setakat your physical image saja is not good enough. Yeah, because how you look when people meet you, or when you send out your resume out there, dia baca resume you nampak macam, looks good. Your picture tu pun nampak cantik. But before they call you for an interview, they will Google you. All right. This is especially true for big GLCs and MNCs, multinational companies. They will Google you. They will compare your online or your virtual presence with your resume. Kalau benda tu tak selari, it's not aligned, they're not going to waste their time to call you. Because they get hundreds of resumes submitted to them every week. So for them, kalau you punya resume cakap lain, your Facebook, your IG, your TikTok cakap lain, buang masa je. To them, you're not who you say you are. All right, so your virtual branding is another element that's very important. Of course, I've had some people kata, oh, tapi Zarina, itu kita punya private time. Ya, bila kita pergi kerja, okay lah, we dress up for our profession. But after office hours, it's our personal time. Memang it's your personal time, but be smart about it. How committed are you to achieve what you want to achieve? So if you want to post personal things online, funny things online, don't put your name on it. Put your nickname. Yeah? But kalau nama penuh you katakan Muhammad Adam, make sure whatever you post on your FB, on your IG, on your TikTok is something that you want people to remember you by in terms of your career. Because LinkedIn ke, mana-mana online presence you will link to your career. So if you want to post funny things that you do with your friends and your family members, then just put a nickname. Like let's say Muhammad Adam is known as Chick Dad. Then you taruh je lah. You know, Chick Dad at whatever. Yeah, because only your family will know that's your nickname. Yeah, so that is one of the things that you should start looking into since you're entering the corporate world now and you're going to be sending your resumes out. Okay. The next thing would be your networking. In Malaysia, it's not just what you know, it's also who you know. If you're very intelligent, your IQ is really high, you know a lot of things, but you don't know the right people, you don't have the right connections, people don't know who you are, it's susah juga lah. Yeah, it's quite tough. Okay, so if you really want to go up there, you have to, again, this is again where branding comes in, you have to make yourself visible, out of sight, out of mind. So that's another thing. Like right now, tak apalah, we're doing this virtual talk. But one thing I want you to remember, when people don't see you, people don't remember you. And when people don't remember you, opportunities are lost. Yeah? Out of sight, out of mind. Always remember that. Why do you think celebrities create all these drama and scandal? Because they know, kalau they're not covered in the newspaper, on TV or on magazine, people forget they exist and they're not going to get jobs. So kadang-kadang, some of the drama they have is not even real drama. They create a drama sebab dia nak keluar surat khabar. Yeah, any publicity is good publicity because people remember that they're out there. And this is true for all celebrities around the world. Yeah, so this is also why for you, your virtual branding is important. That if you want to be a thought leader in your industry, start sharing things about your industry. You know, if you're in mechanical engineering, what's the latest happening in mechanical engineering? Or do you have a story to share about some of your friends already working? You know, so whenever you post these things on LinkedIn, especially because LinkedIn is your online resume, people remember you. Yeah, and people will say, oh, I'm looking for someone, and your name will pop up. You'll be top of mind. This is like personal advertising. Yeah. So the next thing would be, the next thing would be your communication skills. All right. So you look good, you dress well, memang macho. Kalau ladies tu, wah, memang lawa. Tapi bila buka mulut, alamak. Yeah. They're not able to communicate well. Yeah. Speech is a problem, and communication ni ada banyak elemen. Ada verbal, ada non-verbal. So if you're not able to communicate well, that also blows your chances. And finally, if your EQ, your emotional intelligence, It doesn't matter how high your IQ is. If your EQ is low, you're not going to get very far in life. But if a person, IQ dia taklah tinggi sangat, but the EQ is high, they can reach for the stars. Yeah, Lim Gotong is one of the perfect Malaysian example of someone who achieved great success with a higher EQ. He only went to school till he was 12 years old. He doesn't have higher education, but strong EQ and his ability to network, that was another thing. He had good networking skills, and look how he built his empire. He became a legend. Yeah. So now let's go into ethics. What are your thoughts on ethics? So I would like you to participate in this. If you could just scan the QR code or go to www.menti.com and just key in the code. I would like to hear what your thoughts are. And while you do that, if everybody has scanned the QR code, I'm going to bring out our Mentimeter and see what you think. What are your thoughts on ethics? When you hear the word ethics, what does it mean to you? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now and I'm going to bring out. Semua dah scan ke? Is everybody able to scan?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Let me bring out our Mentimeter. All right. So there it is. Standard and common sense, moral philosophy, attitude, compassion, integrity, behavior. Very nice. Where you stand, moral philosophy. Wonderful. Oh, that's interesting. Discipline. Yes. Very good. Thank you guys for sharing. All of you got it right. What's that? Good action and value, ability to adapt, accepted culture. My job sucks. Kesian you kerja kat mana tu? Your job sucks. Well, you know what? Then you should not work there anymore. You should find a new one. Okay? Seriously. Yeah. If the job sucks, it makes you unhappy, you're going to fall sick because your mind, your emotion, your body is one system. All right. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for sharing. So now let's go back to the slides. Okay. And let's share my slides again. Okay. And all right. So I think you guys all have a very good understanding of what ethics is. Yeah. What does it mean? As you said, moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. So that's generally what ethics mean. What we're going to focus today, yeah, is on workplace ethics. And this refers to the way you work in an organization and how it governs themselves and their overall work attitude. Yeah, so it's specifically about how you conduct yourself at work. And when we talk about work ethics, it's not just you as the employee, but it's also the organization. Yeah, ethics is very wide. And ethics is not etiquette. Because I come across this a lot. Yeah, I've been doing corporate training for almost 17 years. And a lot of people out there get ethics and etiquette mixed up. It's not the same thing. So all of you are correct about ethics. Etiquette, however, is respected behavior, manner, and decorum shown in official functions and social interactions. Etiquette is about how you dress, how you dine, how you speak. Even what you talk about defines good etiquette. Yeah, so etiquette is a different story altogether. So today we're going to focus more on workplace ethics. So when we talk about workplace ethics, there are 6 core ethical values. Yeah, the 6 pillars of your character. So that's why when we talk about ethics, you know, we would think, especially for me, one of the things that disappoint me in my journey in the corporate world, or basically in my journey when I meet some people, is I believe that the way we're brought up, especially our culture and our religion, being Muslims, I always expect that we have superior ethical values because we are taught in our religion. You know, bila you pergi sekolah agama, pergi sekolah, we thought about ethical values. We're taught all this. But unfortunately, when you go out there, banyak ni, a lot of this is lacking. And what are the 6 pillars? Trustworthiness, respect, yeah, respect for yourself and respect for others, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Bila baca tu benda tu macam senang. But you'll notice that for some people, it's not that easy to practice. Yeah, so this is where I really, really pray that all of you will be those people who walk the talk. Yeah, and when we talk about the ethics, the principle of ethics, here are some supporting principles. When you talk about trustworthiness, what is it? It's about honesty, integrity, reliability, and loyalty. And when we talk about honesty, not sharing information is as good as lying. Yeah, because some people can, when they defend themselves, I didn't tell you a lie. Yeah, but you hid the truth. Nampak tak? Yeah, so that's dishonest. Just because you don't lie in your words, but hiding the truth, knowing that something is wrong, and you're not saying anything or doing something about it, that's still dishonest. So there is no right way to do a wrong thing. In this case, when we talk about ethics, it's quite black and white. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Yeah? And then we talk about respect, courtesy, dignity, and tolerance. Now, tolerance is not my favorite word. I prefer acceptance. Because when you talk about tolerance, it basically means you don't like it, but you tolerate it. So ada negative emotion kat situ lah, you know, because you don't really like it, but you're tolerating it. So if you practice acceptance, is better, because acceptance is, it's not something you do, but you understand why they do it. You make an effort to understand. You make an effort to empathize. So you go, okay lah, it's not something I will do, but you nak buat, you buat lah. Yeah. You do you, I do me. You know, that kind of thing. So that's respect. And then there's responsibility, accountability, pursuit of excellence, and self-restraint. Now, accountability is also something that is really, really lacking, yeah, in our country. And in my experience in the corporate world, decisions are not made because nobody wants to take responsibility. Nobody wants to be accountable. Semua takut kena tuduh. Yeah, semua takut nak buat salah. But the thing is, if you don't make a decision, you don't do something, you will not know. Yeah, and if you know your job, you know what needs to get done, then you should not have fear of accountability. Always remember that. So when you make a decision or when you say something, have that character or courage to stand by what you say. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Yeah, all this is about ethics. Now, when we talk about pursuit of excellence, this is another thing that I have discovered, yeah, in my working career. Ramai orang kat luar tu, attitude dia asal siap. Cukuplah, you know, dah buat, cukuplah asal siap. You know, they really don't care about the quality. So this is what we talk, when we talk about excellence, You give your best 100% of the time. Whatever leaves your table, whatever leaves your desk will carry your name. That is your stamp, your chok moho. So if something leaves your desk at a substandard quality, that's you lah, that's your branding. So do you think you're going to get very far in your career if the things that leave your desk are not of that quality? Tak ada standard. So always remember, whatever leaves your desk, your name is attached to it. So make sure you're always looking at excellence, you know. Bila benda tu keluar, let it be something that you are proud of, that you've given your 100%. Not ala kadar atau asal siap. Yeah. And then fairness. Procedural fairness, impartiality, equity. What does this mean? Tak boleh lah. Cronyism, nepotism, pilih kasih. Which I think all of us see a lot. Yeah, among our politicians, among our big corporations. I mean, let's not pretend. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I am known for being very vocal, mulut laser, as some would say. But I speak from the heart and I speak from my experience. Yeah, I don't believe in fitnah ke tuduh orang, tak ada. I see it as it is. Yeah, and Fadli would like to annotate. Okay, I'll let you annotate. What do you want to annotate, Fadli? So if anybody wants to say something, you are welcome to. Yeah. But anyway, back to fairness, as I was saying. It's something that I think a lot of people, generally speaking, find it very hard to do because that element of pilih kasih will always be there. And it's unfortunately also part of our culture. Yeah, being a collectivism culture, we are relationship based. Yeah, but do your best to be fair. Okay. Next would be caring, concern for others and how they will be affected by your actions. So that's where you can fikir jauh. Whenever you do something, don't just look at how it affects you. Think a few steps ahead. How would your decision, how would your action affect the next person? Yeah, this is where empathy comes in. And last but definitely not least, citizenship. What is citizenship? Again, it's about others. It's not about you. Yeah, your civic virtues, your duties. It's about giving back to society. How is it that whatever it is you're doing add value to other people? It's not just about what you are going to get. Yeah, if you're selfish, you fikir, okay lah, benda ni, it works for me. So if it doesn't do anything for you, not my problem. That's your problem. You know, you don't want that kind of attitude. If everybody has that kind of attitude, hancur. Yeah, so you always look at giving back. So this is one thing that I'm very proud about Malaysia. I'm very proud about our country. And I'm very proud about our people. Look at what recently happened, yeah? The bungee. Who would have imagined? Even before bungee, COVID. Look at how our people came together. Whether it was a small company, whether it was a big company, yeah, orang susah ke, orang berduit ke, how everybody came together to help. Yeah, the citizenship value in our country is very high, and I'm very proud of that. Especially because I've traveled as a crew, and in my job, I've traveled all over the world, and I have to say, Malaysia boleh lah, despite we are the best. Okay, dari segi MNC, dari segi GLC, at all levels, our government may not be at its best at the moment, but when it comes to taking care of its people, it does its job. And this is another thing I want to highlight here. Do not get confused, politics and government. Politicians come and go. Yeah, politicians come and go. They have a term, 4 years, 5 years, and then we are the ones who put them back there. If they're there for a long time, yeah, they come and go. Government are people, hard-working Malaysians who work in the government for years, for decades. So these people in the government are very good people, and you can see the sort of things that they do. Yeah, the things they do for rakyat lah. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that some policies are created by these politicians. They're only there for 4 to 5 years, but sometimes they do such damage, yeah, that takes decades to repair. Yeah, and I think all of you know what I'm talking about because all of you are very intelligent. Yeah, but the government that we have is amazing. Yeah, the people that we know that work in the government. So now moving on. Oops, let me stop the annotation. How do I stop the annotation? My apologies because I am not very fluent with Webex. Okay. So the 10 traits, okay? 10 traits to work ethics. We're looking at appearance, attendance, attitude, character, communication, cooperation, organization, skill, productivity, respect, and teamwork. Now, what you need to understand is they are all linked. They're not separate and individual. Ya, contohnya, your appearance will actually project your attitude. Yeah, your attendance is also something that is a reflection of your attitude. And when we talk about teamwork, it's where cooperation comes in, communication comes in. Your attitude is also a reflection of your character. Your respect is a reflection of your character. Yeah, and your productivity is high when you're able to work in a team and cooperate with each other. And of course, your organization skills would encompass everything. So it's not a standalone. It all comes together. So I trust that all of you would have this, yeah? And attendance has a lot to do with discipline, and discipline goes back to character. So these are the 10 traits of your work ethics. Now, what are the effects? Yeah, when a company or when you as an individual is ethical, kalau katakan at an organizational level, it avoids reputational harm. Unethical practices creates damaging headlines and it destroys reputation. So whether it's a reputation of the organization or reputation of a person, an individual person. Yeah. And ethical practices promotes organizational growth because people are happy. And the company are doing things right. So they create trust. Yeah, that's another thing. So when people work in an ethical company, people are happy, it increases employee performance. It creates job satisfaction. Kalau unethical practices, that's where it leads to organizational demise, meaning hancur lah. The organization cannot survive because it's like a cancer. It will eat from the inside out, hancur. Yeah, and when it's ethical practices, there's organizational commitment and there's trust. Trust among the employees and trust among the consumers, or what we call stakeholders. When it's unethical, you get a lot of operational distraction. Pasal, you get cases like under the table lah, all these weird practices because everybody are like wolves. Everybody are like leeches. Semua ingat perut sendiri je, ingat pocket sendiri je. What do I get out of this? And what happens? Hancur. Yeah. So that whole organization will again crumble from the inside out. And unethical practices will create financial liabilities. Because unethical practices are normally, how I would describe it, will be a company filled with thieves. Semua nak mencuri, semua nak fikir what they get out of it. Yeah, so it's like you cari makan kat situ, but you are stealing from the company yang you cari makan. Macam mana tu? How does that work? If the company prosper, then you prosper. So that's why when you have ethical practices, you're helping the organization to prosper. And that creates organizational citizenship behavior, such as altruism, conscientiousness, civic virtue, good sportsmanship and courtesy. Yeah, so these are the effects. So for you, you need to have strong ethical values because like attracts like. So when you work in a company that practices unethical values, two things you can do. You stand up and you speak up, or you get out. Yeah, like attracts like. So one thing, people with strong principles, people with strong ethics, it's quite easy for them to make decisions because their values are aligned with their action. Yeah, so this is another thing that you need to understand. There's a difference between belief and values. Values is what is your core, what's important to you lah. Values is at its core. Things that you regard as important and as crucial. Belief are things that you believe to be true but may not necessarily be true. Beliefs can change. Values don't. So that's why just now I think Adam mentioned about self-reflection. This is where self-reflection is very, very important. So when you reflect, you will actually able to analyze your beliefs. Because if the beliefs are not working for you, drop it. But if the beliefs work for you, and you see that the beliefs bring about positive outcomes, good benefits, then you continue with that belief. Yeah. An example of a belief that doesn't work could be, oh, I tak pandai public speaking lah. I'm not good at public speaking, so I cannot do presentation. Who says? That's a negative belief, and that kind of belief will hold you back. So that type of belief you can drop. Because everybody can do public speaking. Seriously. It's just about picking the right skills. And it's about you changing your belief system. It's all about perception. Yeah. So now I want to share a few case studies on work ethics. Yeah, and the examples that I've put here are basically, I mean, one MDB because it came out on TV. Everybody knows about it. Yeah, Hotel Amada was something I was exposed to. I'm going to share specifically on Malaysia Airlines and Lim Kok Wing. Petronas and NASA because I have experience with them as well. The World Bank. Now, this is something that part of the reason why I'm here. I actually applied to work for the World Bank. Now, one of the things about ethics study, we talk about how the principles, yeah, you had the 6 pillars and the supporting principles, yeah, of ethics. One of it was about fairness. So what the World Bank does, and what many companies in America, they have done, which is different from Malaysia, is that when you apply for a job, borang yang you isi itu kan, they will not ask you what is your race, they will not ask you what is your religion, they will not ask you your age. Because to them, these 3 things can cause biasness. So the way that they reduce biasness is by not including it in the form. Even your gender. Yeah, your gender itu pun dia bagi option. Male, female, what you relate yourself to, and rather not say. So they have a rather not say. So I don't understand that, but it's okay, you know, because their idea is to reduce biasness. Now I'm going to share with you an example of what happened to Malaysia Airlines when ethics go out the window. And I can share about Malaysia Airlines because I was a staff of Malaysia Airlines. Yeah, and I only share things that I've experienced and things that I personally am linked to. Yeah, I'm not going to share about something yang tak ada kena dengan saya. You know what's the point? Because I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. So if it's a lie, nanti I'll end up propagating a lie. Yeah, but like in Malaysia Airlines, let me share this with you. When I joined the airlines in 1992, yeah, that was when it was with Tan Sri Zain Azrai, and the airline was growing exponentially. We were doing so well. We were growing really fast. And we were always the top 3 in best service, best first class service, best business class service, and best economy class service. And we kept winning the top 3 for 7 years in a row, 5 to 7 years in a row. Our only competitors were Singapore Airlines and Thai Airways. Itu dua je yang boleh compete. Yeah, because hospitality is in our blood. Being Malaysians, being Asians, our hospitality is always better. Yeah. But what happened was, unfortunately, because things were going well, politicians come in. Yeah. So that's where greed come in. And to cut a very long story short, what I want to share with you here is what happened during Pak last time as Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Abdullah Ahmad Badawi. When he was the Prime Minister, he made some decisions which I would use as a case studies as being unethical. And what he did was he appointed or he gave a catering contract to his brother-in-law. Yeah. This is where nepotism comes in. Yeah. Gave a huge contract. So from serving one of the best foods in the world, where I know passengers who fly with Malaysia Airlines at that time, just because they love our food, yeah, suddenly we have the issue of the nasi lemak telanjang. I don't know if you guys remember that, but Chef One highlighted it. It became a huge case. Do any of you remember that? The nasi lemak telanjang story? Yeah. And that wasn't the beginning. That was midway. Yeah, because before Pak La, Tan Sri Tajuddin Ramli also made some very, very selfish and unethical decisions, which were eating away at the airline. So you imagine, from one of the top business airlines in the world, winning, always being in top 3 in the best first class, business class, and economy class service. Now, where is Malaysia Airlines? Hancur, right? Why? Because of so many unethical practices that go on in the airline. Now, that is the big picture. That's the people that are managing it at that management level, senior management level. But at a working level, what I can share with you, because I was a stewardess. Yeah, I'll give a very simple example. I'm sure many of you have flown, yeah? And I don't know if you know this or not. If you have family members who are crew, you can check. You can ask them and find out. In the galley, yeah, in the airline, in the galley, there's one, galley is the kitchen lah, dekat dalam kapal terbang tu kan. There's one particular service unit where we keep amenities. It's called the amenities unit. And in this amenities unit, we actually have little souvenirs and gifts for children and for mother with babies. Okay, we've got like baby food, we've got diapers, we've got coloring books, we've got pens, we've got aircraft models, we have a cute soft toy, macam-macam, which is meant for kids. However, we don't have a lot. During my time, we only have like maybe 5 units per zone. Okay, so it's meant for the passenger. Now, what I would do when I was working, is that when I'm in the zone, I'll do my rounds and I'll calculate how many mothers with children or mother with infants and how many kids below the age of 12 years and below. So I count and I tengok cukup tak what I have in my amenities compartment. Yeah. So normally cukup lah. And what I would do is, after the meal service is done, I would put these little things in little, what we call liquor bags, and I would actually give it to the passenger. Yeah, if it's a 6-year-old kid, I'll give the coloring book and the soft toy. If it's a boy, I'll give the airplane model. If it's a mother with a baby, I'll give diapers and the baby food. And of course, how do the passengers feel? Wow, because they're not expecting it. But it's meant for them. Yeah, they pay a lot of money to fly. At that time, Air Asia tak ada lagi. So not everyone can fly, right? Now, but on the other hand, we have unethical practices where there are crew, dia tahu benda-benda ni ada, but what do? They put it in their daily, what we call overnight bag. They bring it home and they give it to their children. So do you think that's ethical? Do you think that's stealing from the company that they're working with? And that was done. And you know what is sad? Because it was done by so many people. Ni satu lah. Just because it's done by everyone doesn't make it right. So it's done by so many people where they steal from their own company. Taruh dalam bag, bawa balik. Segala, all the paper plates, cups, taruh dalam bag, bawa balik. Who are you stealing from? You're stealing from the company that pays you your salary every month. Yeah, this is just food for thought because all of you guys are going to be working out there. All of you guys know this. Yeah, and when I was in the corporate world, when I left MES, there were people who would steal reams of A4 paper, bawa balik. Pasal, oh, A4 paper kat rumah dah habis. Seriously? Isn't that stealing from the company that is paying you your salary? So kita orang Islam, you know, there's halal, there's haram. This is the part that I don't understand. Why is it as Muslims, bila kita cakap pasal makan babi, oh haram. Cakap pasal arak, oh haram. Tapi things like this, diorang tak consider haram pula. Yeah, this is just food for thought, you know. I really, really pray that you all will be the next generation that will get rid of all these horrible practices. Okay, I know I'm running out of time, but here's another video that I want to share with you. I was a senior PA to Tan Sri Lim Kok Wing. Yeah, Tan Sri Lim Kok Wing had 5 PAs, and PA is not secretary. PAs are people who represents him at meetings. This is Tan Sri Lim Kok Wing, okay? His personal assistant. We do presentations. We represent him at meetings. So when we're there, it's as good as him being there. So as a senior PA, I have 4 PAs that report to me and I report to him directly. Now, I don't know if any of you are aware. I'm sure you are because all of you are internet savvy or social media savvy. This is something that happened and everything on this is true because I worked for him. I experienced it myself. So like I said, I only share things that are true. I will not lie to you and fabricate stories. So let me know if you can hear the video, yeah?
Don't behave like this. Pack your bag and go.
Can you hear the video, everyone?
Can.
Yes.
Can you hear it? Yeah? All right. Any of you have seen this before?
No.
No? Belum, yeah? Okay. Now take a look.
obey, say you are a qualified lecturer as well, as a lecturer as well. That's good for you. Nobody's forcing you to teach, but you're employed by us. If you're not happy with us, you can resign. To pay a good salary to apply for teaching permit costs only 200 ringgit. I get told that you were very negative if we ask you to sign up to get a teaching permit. I employ you. Do you understand? You can be very polite to say that I really cannot be a lecturer. Nobody's forcing you, but if somebody offers me the opportunity, if I were your age, to be also a lecturer when I am not, I would take the opportunity. Nobody is forcing you to teach. We don't need you to teach. Some of you are not qualified anyway. Only this country offers people this. You understand it's a good offer. How many of you are so unhappy? Okay, you can resign.
So,
Don't behave.
before I go any further, I'd like to hear your thoughts. What do you think?
Don't
I think it's
think so
terrible.
far? Yeah,
Very terrible.
it is
Very
terrible.
terrifying.
Yeah, I worked for him, and to be honest, I had a nervous breakdown. I had a nervous breakdown. I endured sexual harassment, and all the staff there endured verbal abuse, endured psychological abuse. Yeah, and these are bad work ethics. So it was very hard for people to stay. But what happens is that the ones who stayed are the ones who share his values, because he makes promises. Yeah, one of the things that he used to say to me, he said, Zarina, you stick with me, I'll make you a very powerful woman. Of course he would, I know, because he was connected to all the right people. Yeah, he was very big, he was very powerful. He actually organized Nelson Mandela's political campaign. It's not a small man. Yeah. And when he hires a PA, it was for him to groom to become a VP. So all of his VPs were once upon a time his PA. Yeah, but the difference is, now this is where ethics is about you as a person, your value. And my advice to you, because most likely all of you are my children's age, my advice to you, never, ever, ever compromise on your values, your ethics, and your principle, because that is who you are. Yeah, and what happened to me was when I was working for him, I forgot that for a short while, and I was turning into a person that I did not like. But now this is something, you know, this is where emotional intelligence comes in. So if we have time, I'll go a bit into emotional intelligence. Yeah, it's about being self-aware. So I had a blind spot. I wasn't aware of what I was turning into, but the person that I was with actually gave me feedback. Yeah. And this is something where with you, always be open to feedback. Yeah. And I really, really hope that when you go out there and you work, play the game well. Yeah. What do I mean by playing the game well is that you don't just go out there and suddenly be all righteous, tak boleh juga. Yeah, because you're new. So what you do is keep your head low, learn the culture. Every organization has a culture. Learn the culture, see whether the culture resonates with you or not, whether the culture of that organization shares your value or not. If it doesn't share your value, then, you know, you have choices. But if it shares your value, then very good. So ethics is about you, yeah, and it's the decisions you make. Now, one of the ways that organizations can promote ethical behavior, because kadang-kadang, especially in a big organization, you know, what happens is some companies try their best to run an ethical organization. There are many companies out there that do well. Southwestern Airline is one of them. Yeah. Kalau dekat Malaysia, it's hard to say. I cannot name anything at the top of my head, but yeah, but there are companies that are ethical, and one of the ways that they promote ethical behavior is through what is known as the voice of employee system, where they effectively promote ethical behavior and encourage reporting unethical behavior. Yeah, so there are 5 criteria to this. One is elegance, be easily understood, applicable to the entire organization and all employees, and effectively diagnose issues. So these issues are highlighted by the employee. All right. And then the system is also accessible, easy to use, widely promoted, accessible to all employees. Correctness, it's well administered and include follow-up to complaints. Because unfortunately, some companies, some organizations, they implement the system, but sekadar, macam apa yang cakap tadi earlier on, sekadar cukup makan. Ala asalkan siap, you know, ala kadar, just to show. So that's the problem. Yeah, but companies who are, or senior management who are dedicated to ensuring that the voice of the employee system is effective, they would actually look into all these things. Yeah, responsiveness, be timely, be responsive, and be used by management to show results. That means all the issues that are being highlighted are discussed and action is taken. And then non-punitiveness. Now, this is very important. Be anonymous and be free of retaliation. Yeah, managers and employees must be protected. What happened? I think all of you, I'm sure all of you watch TV. It happened. Somebody, I won't mention names, somebody reported an important person, a prominent figure in the country, for graft, for rasuah, kan? Tapi tiba-tiba orang yang report tu pula kena saman. And kena bayar denda lagi tinggi daripada orang yang mengambil rasuah. So unfortunate for me to say, but which I think I tak buat fitnah because all of you watch TV, all of you read the news. It's unfortunate for me to say that our justice system in the country is not very ethical. Yeah. So that's why I'm hoping that all of you, our nation's future, will make a difference. Okay. Now back to this, voice of the employee. What is it? It's defined as the opportunity for employees to express concerns about policies in the workplace and offer ideas about how to improve conditions in the workplace. And there are 2 types. There's the informal and there's the formal structure. So informally, there are some companies that I have been exposed to that actually have a Facebook where all the employees openly discuss things on the Facebook with their managing director. So this is quite impressive. It's a logistics company from Klang, yeah, based in Port Klang. And they do that. The boss memang openly, the MD. Yeah, so these are like new generation MDs. So whatever grievances, whatever situation in the company, they actually share and talk about it on Facebook. And it's an internal Facebook. Dia tak. Membership is not open to outsiders. It's just among the staff. So that is one of the informal ways. So one of the formal ways is to have structured communication channels. So this is where you have proper employee surveys and proper grievance reports. Okay. So when you work, when you go out there and you work in a company, do your homework. Yeah, just find out about all these things. Yeah. And it's critical that the BOE has an actual impact and real influence on the organization. So again, I only talk about companies that I have experience in. So in Lim Kok Wing, obviously, you cannot complain and you cannot report. VOE doesn't exist because the minute you buka mulut, you get fired, right? So unfortunately, there are some GLCs in the country where unethical practices are done and the staff are not able to voice it out. They have a VOE in place, but they're not able to voice it out because they voice it out to HR. HR will still bring it up to that particular person and mati kat situ lah. So no action will be taken. So that's why there are 3 imperative criteria that needs to be met. 1, to provide structured channels for feedback in the form of surveys. 2, to create a culture of acceptance for feedback. Because some people, dia suka bagi feedback, tapi dia tak boleh terima. Yeah. So organization pun are like people. So some organizations, they ask for feedback, but then when you give them feedback, dia tak boleh accept. Yeah. So that doesn't work as well. And number 3, to demonstrate that the feedback influences organizational changes and improvements. So these are the 3 main things for the VOE to work. Okay. Now, what are the key benefits? 1 would be increased retention, because when you increase the number of ways to provide feedback, staff will be happy because staff will feel that they are heard. Employees feel heard, right? Increased engagement. So it's critical to give employees a voice at various stages of employment and ask for feedback. So this is where daripada onboarding, yeah, at every level, at every stage, they have feedback sessions. Or that's why you also, I don't know if you noticed or not, the past decade, many of our GLCs have started Tarikh sessions, they call it. Ada panggil Tarikh session, ada panggil kopitiam session, whatever name they give it is a VOE lah. Or some panggil townhouse, yeah, townhouse, or apa lagi dipanggil? Town meeting, you know, they have many names for it. Or town council, yeah, where the senior management, whether it's the MD or one of the directors or heads, would actually sit with the staff and they would talk about current happenings, grievances, what can be improved. Yeah. Do you think it is ethical? Wait, let me read that. Or why don't you just say it to me? Who was that? Haziq ke? Siapa yang tulis soalan tadi? Can you just share with me what your question was?
Yes. My question is, I just across my mind. Do you think it is ethical to be a member of parliament when you are currently charged for a few corruption cases? As we know in Japan, somewhere else, if you are charged for corruption, so anything, you just have to step down, right? So in Malaysia, they are not.
Exactly. I love you. You are right. So your compass is pointing in the right direction. Let me put it that way. So you see, orang yang kena charge ni pun, we know who we're talking about, right? So orang yang kena charge ni pun, if they have ethics, they would step down. Tak payah suruh. Nampak tak? That is already evidence that this individual does not have ethical values. He is not ethical. That's why dia boleh muka tebal and still go there. And again, I don't know what's wrong with our system. That's why I said our justice system, our governing system is not ethical. Unfortunately, and that's why I think a lot of our citizens are not happy. Yeah, that's why we need fresh blood like all of you. Yeah, so thank you for that. You are right. Kalau ikutkan, nobody with an ongoing criminal case should be allowed to hold a seat in parliament. It should be stripped off automatically. He doesn't need to resign. It should be stripped off. That's why I don't understand why this is happening, and people who have the power are not doing anything about it. Yeah. So next would be improve job satisfaction, because higher levels of job satisfaction among employees has been reported when employees become more involved in the organization's decision-making process. So this is also how companies can ensure that they have long-serving staff. Because employees have a choice. All of you have a choice. If you're not happy with the organization, you can always look elsewhere. You can always find an organization that has values aligned to yours. Yeah. And honestly, that's how I operate. I cannot work for a company that I do not share the values. Yeah. The leader that I follow has to be somebody who I respect their values. Yeah. And then higher performance rating. Managers rate employee performance higher when the employee demonstrates a high level of employee voice. And it is viewed as an important aspect of performance. So this is something where berani kerana benar lah, yeah. But you also have to be smart, yeah. Again, that's why I said when you enter an organization, do your due diligence, understand the culture. Actually, I have so many things to share with you, but 1.5 hours tak boleh lah kan. There's not enough time. Maybe I'll see you guys again. Yeah, because there's so many things you need to know about culture. There's organizational culture. Kita selalu dengar pasal racial culture. Tapi racial culture tu pun ada breakdown dia lagi. Ada racial subcultures. So just because I Melayu, you Melayu doesn't mean we're the same Melayu. Same thing with Chinese. Yeah, that's why I don't know if you heard of the term. There's some Chinese who are known as bananas. You pernah dengar tak? So ada rap song lagi. Yellow in the outside, white in the inside, banana, banana. There's a rap song, okay? You can look it up on YouTube. Yeah, it's about Chinese who are different from the traditional Chinese. And they're Indians. We have Malay Chinese and Indians who are known as the urban Malay Chinese Indian who are different. So all these cultures play a role. When you go out there and you work, it actually affects on how successful your teamwork will be. It plays a role in how effective your communication will be. Yeah, so see, these are some of the things. Okay. All right. So I think I just have a little time to go into emotional intelligence before I let you go. Now, emotional intelligence is actually very important, not just for you, but your role in an organization, because it measures, yeah, socially and emotionally intelligent behavior are linked to organizational performance. So what is it? Now, it's a term that was first coined by Daniel Goleman. My sincere advice to all of you, learn a bit about this. Yeah, self-awareness plus self-discipline plus empathy is what will give you personal and professional success. So self-reflection is one of the tools that you use for emotional intelligence. Okay, and to give a more academic definition, emotional intelligence is the ability to perceive emotion, to access and generate emotion so as to assist thought, to understand emotions and emotional knowledge, and to reflectively regulate emotion so as to promote emotional and intellectual growth. So, kita selalu bila orang kata kau emo lah, cik, pada kita macam emo tu benda negatif. Sebenarnya, emotions are very powerful tools if you know how to use it. Yeah, because everything you do, all the decisions you make are linked to emotion. Some people can say, oh, tak ada, I think about my decisions. I'm not emotional. It starts with your emotion, baru it goes to your thinking. You feel something first, from the feeling comes the thinking, from the thinking comes the action. It's linked together. Your mind, emotion, body is one system. Always remember that. Yeah, so that's why whenever you have a negative thought, it will bring about a negative emotion and your action becomes negative. So whatever it is you do, be very aware of your thoughts, because your thoughts and your emotion is interlinked, it's one system. So whenever you have a negative thought and you start feeling negative, change your thinking and it will change your emotion and will bring about a different action. Yeah. Okay, so a bit more, Dr. Farah. I have 5 more minutes.
Around that 5 minutes.
Around that, okay. So I just finish off this bit on EQ. Now, because EQ has a lot to do with ethics, yeah? Now, what is emotional intelligence about? It's about being smarter with your feelings, fusion of logic and emotion, and how you identify, understand, manage, and use emotion. Okay? So 3 components of EQ. Number 1, to be aware of your own emotion. Now, masalahnya kita ni, many of us, we are brought up to not feel. Yeah, imagine when you were growing up, if you're angry, your parents or your teachers will say, jangan marah. You go like, oh, you know, like marah tu salah, you tak boleh marah. Kalau nangis, jangan nangis. You know, everything jangan. Right? Kalau you seronok pun, jangan seronok sangat. You go like, alamak, you know, macam semua tak boleh feeling kan. So that's why many of us are not aware of our own emotion, because growing up, we're always told not to feel. So this is where at this age, you have to start getting more in touch with your emotion, because like I said, emotions are very, very powerful. Yeah. So being aware of what you feel, how you feel, why you feel what you're feeling. Yeah. So this is what we call emotional literacy. So you have to develop your emotional literacy. When your emotional literacy is high, people cannot manipulate you through emotion. So that's another thing. When you go out and work, Menti, there will be some people who will try and manipulate you through your emotion. Yeah, and it's not just through work, it's in everyday life, in relationships. So when your EQ is high, people are not able to do that. Yeah, and then it's the ability to express your emotion appropriately. Kadang-kadang we get upset, sebenarnya kita marah pasal benda lain, tapi pasal A dekat depan muka kita, A kena sembuh. Yeah. So this is where you need to be able to express it appropriately, bertempat. Okay. The capacity to channel emotions into the pursuit of worthwhile objectives. So meaning sometimes you feel very strongly about something, but instead of doing something negative, yeah, like for instance, getting angry and becoming a negative keyboard warrior, you actually put that passion into pursuing an endeavor that will create positive change. Nampak tak? Yeah, so this is where you have that ability to channel the emotion, because when you're able to channel the emotion effectively, nobody can stop you, because emotions are a very, very powerful source of energy. Okay, so if you have a high degree of emotional intelligence, you know what you're feeling, you know what the emotions mean, because sometimes you are not sure what you're feeling, or sometimes you just feel numb. Yeah, I'm sure some of you have experienced that before, because you've always been taught, you know, dari kecil mungkin how you are, your upbringing, your surrounding, you know, you have been told not to feel, that when you feel something, you're not sure what you're feeling. Yeah, if you become confused. But when you have a high degree of EI, you know what your emotions mean and how they affect other people. Okay, so this is very important. Now, these are the elements of emotional intelligence. So I will leave you with this. Self-awareness. And one of the things that I would advise you to do, make it a habit from now on. At the end of the day, if you can start journaling, do it. How many of you actually journal or write diary? Ada tak? Ada tak? Ada. Yeah, it's a good habit to start, because it's one of the tools of self-reflection. Because when you just sit there and you think and reflect, you miss out certain things because our brain ni kita ada conscious mind and subconscious mind. So when you write, you'll notice that things from your subconscious mind will come up. Sometimes things that you're not even thinking about. Yeah, it's just how your brain communicates with you. Okay, so journaling would be very good. And when you have a high self-awareness, it will bring up your confidence level. So just now, one of the elements to personal branding is self-esteem, which has to do with your self-confidence. And you have an accurate self-assessment. Yeah, so next would be self-management. When you know yourself, you're able to manage yourself. And these are the elements of ethics: trustworthiness, conscientiousness, adaptability, drive and motivation, and initiative. Yeah, self-control has a lot to do with ethics. So people with high emotional intelligence tend to have high ethical values. Yeah, so be aware of that. Next would be social awareness, empathy. So that's why you have a strong understanding of the environment. You have good organizational awareness so that you're able to align. So you can be the agent of change for the organization. Mungkin sebelum you masuk, culture dia is a certain way, but when you come in, you actually bring about change. You become a powerful force because you have high emotional intelligence and you're able to share or project your emotion in a positive way. Yeah. And finally, social skills. So these are leadership skills. You'll become influential and you will be able to actually carry out inspirational leadership. Yeah, you'll be able to develop others. So all of you being engineers, inshallah, it's just a matter of years before you actually, kadang-kadang maybe you masuk kerja je, you already have subordinates. You have technicians reporting to you. Yeah, so you'll be able to become an inspiring leader and develop others. You'll be able to build bonds and develop teamwork and collaboration, which is another trait of ethics. Yeah, so I will leave you with that. Thank you so much for listening and thank you so much for the ones that actually participated and share your views. Irfan, Adam, Mirza, and Haziq, I really appreciate you guys. Yeah, and I will end my presentation for any questions you may have. Okay. So is there anybody who would like to say?
Anybody who has question, you can
One
turn
question.
on. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Who is
Let's
this?
say Irfan.
Yes,
Let's
Irfan.
say somebody they get accused and they want to work somewhere, but then that company they look up this person, their history and what they were accused of. The accused person, they genuinely want to be better and they want to work there, but then the company they reject that person. Would that be considered really ethical?
For the company to reject
The accused person, even though the accused person they genuinely want to be a better person and they want to work there because it's the only place they can apply their skills.
Understood. So that, what in terms of ethics, the organization would just be doing their job lah, they're playing safe. So this is back to rezeki lah. Kadang-kadang it's a bit hard to say, but you know what? For that person who's being accused, this is one of those things that I mentioned, right? About challenges. You know, sometimes God gives us challenges not really to make our life difficult or to hold us back, but in a funny way, to open up different opportunities. So this person may feel that their skill can only be applied at that particular place, but that may not be true. And kita ni, manusia ni, sometimes when we're not pushed to the limit, we don't really open up our minds to experience new things and to look at new alternatives. So my answer to you would be, if you know this person who's going through this, jangan harap sangat with that particular place. You've tried, that person has tried, tak dapat, it's okay. Look at other means and other opportunities, because you know what? It's just about opening your mind and changing your perspective. I'll give an example. Yeah, the pandemic. I'll be honest. I am known for being allergic to technology, okay? I don't even shop online. I hate shopping online. I tak ada Shopee, I tak ada Lazada, I got nothing online. I hate it, all right? With a vengeance. So my children make fun of me, my family members make fun of me, my friends make fun of me. I don't even do banking online, okay? I'll tell you that. But when the pandemic happened, imagine, okay? So many trainers that I know end up shutting down their company, end up going back to full-time work because they refuse to pivot, they refuse to change. And here I am, the person who is allergic to technology, who hates technology. What do? I change my perspective. So sometimes, when you're put in a situation, that's where you have to change your perspective and make a decision and say, okay, what can I do, to make things better for myself? And what did I do? I signed up for a course and I learned how to use virtual classes. So now you can throw anything at me, I can figure it out and I can do it. And I've started online banking too. And I've purchased stuff as well. So the point I'm trying to make is kadang-kadang you terlampau mengharap kepada satu benda, but it's not given to you because most likely it's not good for you. It's not what's meant for you. You're meant to have something else. So this person just needs to change the perspective, open up their mind and explore. Yeah. So Irfan, I hope that helps.
Yeah, it can help.
Okay, thank you, Irfan. Thank you for the question.
Hello. Next question, please.
Hello.
My name is
Yes,
Muhammad Aziz. Okay, I want to ask you,
Aziz.
since I've seen someone have been bullied in front of me, and I don't have the power to stop that from happening, or at least to fight back or what. I mean, not physical bully lah.
Yes.
But the bully system, and how what is the best way to become a good whistleblower to my superior?
Understood. Yeah. So the one that is bullying is not the superior layer.
Yep, my colleague.
Yeah, because sometimes the bully is the superior kan. So this is good lah. The bully is not the superior. Well, so this is why yang tadi tu the employee's voice tu kan, VOE tu. Does the company have that particular channel in HR where you can anonymously share your views and update? Tak ada. If that organization does not have such a system, because itulah, this is kind of a sticky situation kan, because at the same time, kita being Muslims and being Asians, we have this thing about kita tak nak kacau perut nasi orang, betul tak? So sometimes, we have that consideration. But I do feel that bullying is an issue, and there are lots of organizations that actually have awareness classes to talk about bullying. The best place for you to go is actually to go to HR. Kalau you go directly to the supervisor, sometimes it depends on your relationship with the supervisor. If your relationship with the supervisor is close, then it's good. You can go for a Tarikh session with him and just share your views. Just say that you're not here to get anybody in trouble, but you felt that you needed to highlight the situation because it affects the working harmony. Because it does. It affects the harmony, it affects the job performance. So if you have a strong relationship with the supervisor, you can have a session with him privately and share that. But if your relationship with the supervisor is not that tight, yeah, you haven't developed that yet, then another thing that you may do is actually speak to your HR. Let HR look into it. Yeah. And normally when you go to HR pun, if it's best for you to be anonymous, because you have to protect yourself as well. Yeah. Find out how HR will be able to handle it. Okay, Hazi?
All right, good, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. That was a good one. All right. Anyone else have a question? This is actually a very serious topic. Yeah, okay. Anybody else? One more thing I'd like to say, one of the key words when we talk about ethic today, or ethical practices, that was not indicated as one of the traits, but which I personally practice and I think is very important, is keikhlasan. Bila kita buat kerja dengan ikhlas, whatever it is that we do, ya, kita niat kita adalah ikhlas, and we're not looking at what do I gain out of this, but we're looking at doing the right thing. Normally the results are positive. Bila you ikhlas dalam menjalankan tugas, you ikhlas belajar, whatever it is you buat dengan ikhlas, insyaAllah, yeah, the results are always good. That's from my experience. Niat tu penting.
Any more question from the student? Ada ke? Saya ada satu soalan. Okay. Previously you said that even if everybody did the action, doesn't mean that the action is ethical. Okay. However, sometimes we look at those that did that action benefit more compared to us. So how we stand firm so that we don't get affected by the action?
Yeah, that's a very good one. Itulah I cakap tadi, at the end of the day kan, it's really about you. It's about your beliefs, it's about your values, keikhlasan diri you sendiri. I'll give an example of myself lah. Like for instance, when I was in corporate communication, yeah, we were in charge of corporate souvenirs, corporate gifts kan. And I know my superior and people around me, bila supplier datang, yeah, they would mark up. Of course, I mean, we're speaking openly about ethics, kan? They would mark up. Jadi, when I take over the role, the supplier came to me and the supplier wanted to offer me the same thing. You know, dia kata, okay Zarina, dia kata, I give you the quotation to charge that product, quotation for 15 ringgit per item. But sebenarnya it's only 10 ringgit. So 5 ringgit I give to you. You see? So katakan kalau 100 items. Banyak lah juga kan, kalau 1,000 lagi lah kan. So now, and I know this is a common practice. A lot of people before me did it, a lot of people around me do it. But me as a person, because of how I am, yeah, I don't like these things. And I just tell that person, I said, you know what? I said, it's okay. If you can give me the item for 10 ringgit, then you quote me for 10 ringgit. Oh, tapi you know that 5 ringgit I nak bagi you. I said, it's okay. I said, my company is paying me a salary. So I'm okay with my salary. Can you please give me quotation for 10 ringgit? So I'll just reject it. Of course, like you said, orang lain tu dia benefit lah, dia dapat duit tu lebih kan. Tapi back to agama kita lah, halal and haram. You know? So how seriously do you take it? So I am a person, I may not wear a hijab and all that, but I look at the halal and haram issue quite seriously. So I rather not bawa balik duit tu bagi makan anak-anak I. Kan? So that particular practice, even though it's done openly sometimes, kan? And it's something that is done by many people, doesn't make it the right thing to do. So balik-balik is you. Apa niat you? Ikhlas ke tak? When you are doing your job, when you are dispensing your duties. So if you ikhlas, Tuhan Allah akan buka lagi banyak opportunities untuk kita. And that is one thing I noticed lah, where I am today, kan? You know, I got so much back in return. It doesn't come from there, it comes from somewhere else. So that is what I have to say from my experience.
Thank you, Puan Zarina.
Thank
Any
you,
other
Dr.
question
Farah.
from students? We can take one last question, I think so. And from there, okay, then we will wrap up the program. Nak tunggu
Okay.
soalan tak jatuh-jatuh ni.
Tak ada ladies.
Ladies
The
dia
ladies
agak
all
shy rasanya.
segan. Okay. So, kalau tak ada soalan, I just have one more story I like to share. You know, sharing is caring. I like to share stories. Now, this one is not so much about ethics. This is something different. And this is my advice to all of you. That I do many trainings, kan? And one of it is on communication skills, presentation skills, diversity and inclusion. So I was doing this training for a multinational company. The parent company is based in Europe, okay? And it's got a subsidiary in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Philippines, and in Thailand. But because of the economic situation at the time, and this is just before pandemic happened, business was doing bad and they needed to make a decision to close 2 or 3 of the subsidiaries in Asia. They only wanted to maintain 1 or 2, okay? And what happened was, Malaysia was one of the subsidiaries that they wanted to shut down. Yeah, the office is in Subang Jaya. They actually had more than 100 staff. It was quite a strong company. And the interesting thing was, Malaysia was one of the top performers. We were actually one of the top performers. But we did better than Thailand, we did better than Vietnam, we did better than Philippines. But when it came to shutting down, Malaysians ingatkan pasal kita top performer, kita tak akan disentuh. You know what? We were on the list to be shut down. So HR was baffled. Called the HQ, tanya HR ke HQ tu. Kata, why is Malaysia being shut down when we are the ones that are one of your top performers? We deliver. And you know what they said? They kata, well, you know what? They kata, every time we have a virtual conference, we never hear anything from Malaysia. Every time we have a discussion, we ask for opinions, we ask for suggestions. When we talk, Malaysia is very quiet. The cameras are always off. We don't hear anybody's voice, so we don't know anybody. So, but Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, we know who's there. So dia boleh sebut nama orang-orang kat Philippines siapa, orang dekat Vietnam siapa, orang dekat Thailand siapa. So we know them personally. So that's why for them to shut that place down, there's a personal connection. But Malaysia, pasal Malaysia, semua senyap, kamera tutup, tak bercakap. So even though we do our jobs well, we are not good at projecting ourselves. And because of that, we lose opportunities. Yeah, so you kids out there, you students, when you go out there and work, always remember, out of sight, out of mind. Make yourself seen, make yourself heard. So obviously, I'm going to remember Irfan, Adam, Mirza, and Hasik, because you people spoke to me, even though I don't see your face. But I know who you are, because you spoke to me. So obviously, if there are opportunities, you carry on this attitude that you have, which is very positive. When you go out there and work, you will be top of mind. People remember you. But for the rest of you yang senyap aja, you become forgettable. You will disappear into the background. So if you have aspirations, kamu ada cita-cita yang tinggi, kamu ingin capai lebih, develop that courage to speak up. And develop that courage to make yourself seen. So I hope the four of you, Irfan, Adam, Mirza and Haziq, today you are speaking up. I hope the next round, you switch on your camera so that people can see you. Yeah, this is branding, okay? All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Farah, for this opportunity. Yeah, I'm very, very grateful that I'm able to share.
Okay, terima kasih Puan Zarina atas perkongsian yang diberikan tadi. Sebelum saya share PowerPoint untuk menunjukkan link exit survey pada siapa yang belum isi lagi, boleh tak kali ni masing-masing turn on the camera so that we can take 1 or 2 shot, okay, untuk kita punya report. Okay, saya tunggu.
Take your time.
Take your time.
Puan, sejuk ke kat sana, Puan?
Ya Allah, sejuk gila bab. I do not like winter. It's -9 degrees Celsius. So yes, it's very cold. Dalam rumah pun sejuk.
Nampak semua
Handsome semua.
hero-hero je semua.
Kamera.
Heroin tak ada.
Itulah dia. Semua encem-encem, malu tak nak tunjuk muka. Awaklah korang. Ada pun princess kat sini.
Liza tolong ambilkan gambar ya. Boleh count, okay. 1, 2.
Betul?
Ya.
Sekejap. Dia boleh ke kalau kita nak buat layout yang nampak macam ramai orang sikit?
Dekat grid. Pilih layout grid.
Okay, sekejap. Okay. Okay.
Count Liza supaya diorang prepare.
Okay. Saya kira 1, 2, 3. Sekejap Okay, sekejap.
Slidekan kepada peserta seterusnya kalau ada yang buka. Memang ada banyak yang buka.
Kejap.
Hai. Lawa-lawa pun semua. Awaklah korang.
Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Slow sikit. Okay, lagi. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Rasanya ada 2 slide je kot yang open the camera.
Tadi saya buat 3 macam ada.
Oh ya.
Dapat 3.
Okay. So terima kasih semua kerana sudi buka kamera. So sebelum kita tutup majlis, ini adalah link untuk survey pada siapa yang belum isi lagi. Okay, tolong isi pasal kita boleh aktif sehingga pukul 11 sahaja. Saya rasa itu sahaja. Kita tutup majlis pada malam ini dengan tasbih kafarah dan surah Wal-Asr. Okay, terima kasih semua. Okay, Assalamualaikum. InsyaAllah jumpa lagi. Untuk Puan Zarina, nanti Kara Niza akan kontak Puan Zarina untuk prosedur seterusnya.
No problem. So all of you, good luck, all the best. And remember, okay, I doakan kejayaan kamu semua. But setakat doa je may not be strong enough. You have to do something. Yeah. Build yourself, build your courage, create your personal brand. Then you boleh capai macam-macam. Alright. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Puan Zarina.
Bye. So, saya akan tutup majlis kita
Thank you, Puan.
sekarang ini. Okay. Bye-bye.
Pleasure.
Okay, end meeting.
Thank you.
Good luck, everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Puan.
Okay.